So again, thank you all for being here. So what I would like to do is to set a stream of consciousness. So I would like to be able to go through the page assignments, because we need to recite the King of Prayers. So with the people who are here right now, there may be people coming in late or something, but I would like to be able to assign these pages now so that we begin we want to do a meditation, we want to do a recitation, the Om Mani Padme Hum recitation, then go into a little bit of a meditation and have a little bit of a guided meditation to speak about during that time. So if you can, if you don't mind, is everybody ready to, can everybody recite tonight? I know Thomas begs out. He has a vision problem, so we respect that. But Grant, can you recite page number 1, please, for the King of Prayers? And Ed, let me see here. Ed, can you recite page number 2, please?
Yes, sir.
And page number 3. Let's see. I'm trying to make sure that people get new things. Tom, will you recite page number 3, please? And page number 4, let's see. Perfect. Michael, can you recite page number 4, please? And then page number 5. Lance will recite page number 5. And page number 6. Rebecca, will you recite page number 6, please? And page number 7, we're going to need to, Ed, can you recite page number 7 for us, please?
All right, I've already got 2. You want me to do 7 too?
Oh, you have 2 already?
Right.
Oh, you mean page number 2?
I have page number 2, yeah.
Yes, yeah, because we have to repeat a couple pages.
All right.
So if you
okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah, page number 7.
Okay.
And Rebecca, will you, I know you're reciting another page, will you recite page number 8, please? And then page number 9, Grant, will you recite page number 9, please? Okay, so Ed and Rebecca and Grant, I think each have 2 pages to recite. Okay. So we'll begin just with our opening prayers. So I will recite them in English one time till we get to the short refuge prayer and the 4 immeasurables. So you can follow along. You can recite along with me if you like. Please turn your microphones off so we don't get time delay problems. All mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience. May they experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly I will establish them in the state of unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious Buddhahood. Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. We take refuge in the kind root Lama and lineage Lamas. We take refuge in the deities and the mandalas of the Yidams. We take refuge in all the exalted Buddhas. We take refuge in the perfect Dharma. We take refuge in the excellent order of the Sanghas. We take refuge in all the noble Dakas, Dakinis, and Dharma guardians, possessors of the eye of wisdom. Until I attain the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma, and likewise in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas embraced the enlightened mind and progressed on the Bodhisattva's path, I too, for the benefit of all sentient beings, give birth to bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. Sangye chodang soki chodamla, Shangju Badu Dakni Kapsuchi, Dagi Jinso Ki Pe Sonamgi, Drola Penshir Sange Jupasho. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Manam kadam yam pe sem chen tam she dewa dang dewe gurdang dempar jorchi. Dugnao dang dunao gi gudang drawa jorchi. Dugnao me pe dewa dang midra wa jorchi. Ne ring chak dang ni dang dra wei tang namla ne pa jorchi. Thank you. So now if you can sit in meditation posture, whatever way that you are comfortable doing that. If you can sit on a cushion on the floor is the best, but if you need to sit on a chair, that's fine. Keep your back straight, your legs together if you're sitting on a chair, your back straight if you're on the floor, and your hands at 4 inches or so below your navel, and your shoulders back, and your head tilted slightly forward, your chin down, your eyes open or closed, but I would suggest that you keep your eyes closed. And that I want you to visualize that we are sitting in this position, and there's a very interesting thing that if we take our two shoulders, we visualize our two shoulders, and our two shoulders, there's a line that comes between our two shoulders and comes down to the lower part of our body, to where our legs are crossed. So our two shoulders are coming down into a equilateral triangle, or maybe even a tetrahedron, a three-dimensional triangle, a tetrahedron. And then from our two knees, and from there, if we're seated in the Vajra position, then our knees are as wide as our shoulders are. So our two knees, there's a line between our two knees that comes up to the top of our head. Another equilateral triangle, or if you can, a tetrahedron, a three-dimensional triangle, a tetrahedron. And you might recognize that what this is recognized as what we might call the Star of David, which we're all very familiar with in most of our Judeo-Christian traditions and so on. So we're sitting in this position, in this interlocked double tetrahedron. And this is representative of phenomenal nature. This is a symbol that symbolizes phenomenal nature. So there's many deities who use this illustration in their paintings and the tankas and the mandalas and so on. So this may be the first time that you're hearing this, but this is the first of what could be many times that you would be visualizing this. So now, as we are sitting in this position and visualizing our body in this interlocked double tetrahedron, now we can close our eyes and we can visualize Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, if you remember, is behold the jewel in the lotus. So here we are sitting in this lotus position, this double tetrahedron, this lotus position that has arisen from defilement. And its beauty and its serene beauty is the nirvana. And that the samsara is this ocean of suffering that we have rising from, that we are coming from. So behold the jewel in the lotus. And in the very center of this, at our heart center, is the syllable Shri, or H-R-I-H, pronounced Shri. And this is the primal cause for our practice, the primal cause for our enlightenment, the primal cause for our loving kindness and compassion, and bodhicitta for the benefit of the enlightenment of all sentient beings. So the behold the jewel in the lotus is revolving around in all 10 directions, this primal cause. So if you can put all this visualization together slowly in your mind as we recite the mantra. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Omani Bamyang, 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 Omani Bamyang. Omani Bamyang, Omani Bamyang, Omani Bamyang, Omani Bamyang, Omani Bamyang. Please maintain a position, maintain reciting this mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum, to yourself. Listen to what I say at the same time. And imagine that all the great leaders, all the great spiritual leaders, the Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, Moses, whatever leaders you can think of that speak to the tradition of loving kindness and compassion to you and to all your people, all your family and friends and everything. And that all their messages are of love and compassion are the same. The essence of what it is that they are communicating to us, transmitting to us, are the same. For us to recognize that we have this nature within ourselves. And that these great beings have been speaking for many, 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 many generations. And many, many followers have become the embodiment of the essence of the message of these leaders. Through history, through where we are right now, there are many people who are the embodiment of these messages of loving kindness and compassion. They've multiplied many, many times, and their lives have come back to help other beings to be able to understand and to be able to practice this, to be able to take this up. These people are countless brothers and sisters, sentient beings all throughout the world, all throughout all of what we know as the world. And these all come from the same mother and father, the same mother and father that we might call space, that we might call this phenomenal nature, the mother and father that gives birth to all our brothers and sisters who have this message to be able to carry on through all of us, this phenomenal nature in which we are living. When we pass through this world, leaving our body and all the memories that this body has locked within it, we leave all this behind when we pass through. What is it that we take when we pass through? What is it that we have become when we pass through? So now we look at liberation. We look at liberation from birth and death. Can we sustain the level of the awareness of this liberation, of the message of loving kindness and compassion? This purity of awareness, can we sustain that? Can we become the embodiment of that? If we are to be born again, what is it that we would want that life to be? What kind of a life would we want to have? Would it speak to us? Would it speak to others in a way that is of benefit from the loving kindness and from the compassion, from the awareness that we have developed and sustained? What knowledge would you want to exalt in your life, in this life now, in this life as we finish this practice today and we get up out of this practice? What is it that we would like to take with us? What knowledge would we want to exalt that in another life? What knowledge would we want to exalt in the next life? What freedoms would you like to embody? What freedom would you like to be the embodiment of in the rest of your life now and in lives to come? So as you ponder that, we recite again. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Shri. Just rest. Nirvana, transcendence, loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta, the wholly enlightened mind. The message of all the great spiritual leaders. That all those words dissolve into light through the crown of your head, through the center of your body, to your heart center. to the Shri syllable, the primal cause. And let that all dissolve into the emptiness, into space, non-conceptual, freedom, liberation. And take a deep breath. Fill your lungs with fresh, clean, pure air. Expand your belly. Hold that breath. And then exhale. Squeeze your belly. Press against the lungs. Force all that stale, negative air out and hold that empty breath. Keep your body straight. Breathe in again through both nostrils. Filling your lungs, expanding the belly, hold the breath. Exhale. Hold the breath. One last time, breathe in deeply. Hold it. Exhale. Very completely squeeze all that stale negative air out. Phew. Ha. Relax and open your eyes. Breathe normal. Thank you very much. So now we can begin the recitation of the King of Aspiration prayers. Grant, page 1.
To all the Buddhas, the lions of the human race, in all directions of the universe through past and present and future, to every single one of you, I bow in homage. Devotion fills my body, speech, and mind. Through the power of this prayer, aspiring to good action, all the victorious ones appear, vivid here before my mind, and I multiply my body as many times as atoms in the universe, each one bowing in prostration to all the Buddhas. In every atom preside as many Buddhas as there are atoms, and around them all their bodhisattva heirs. And so I imagine them filling completely the entire space of reality. Saluting them with an endless ocean of praise, with the sounds of an ocean of different melodies, I sing of the Buddha's noble qualities and praise all those who have gone to perfect bliss. To every Buddha, I make offerings of the loveliest flowers, of beautiful garlands, of music and perfumed ointments, the best of parasols, the brightest lamps, and finest incense. To every Buddha, I make offerings, exquisite garments in the most fragrant scents, powdered incense, heaped as high as Mount Meru, arranged in perfect symmetry. Then the vast and unsurpassable offerings, inspired by my devotion to all the Buddhas and moved by the power and my faith in good actions, I prostrate and offer to all you victorious ones.
Ed, your microphone is off.
Whatever negative acts I have committed while driven by desire, hatred, and ignorance, with my body, my speech, and also with my mind. Before you, I confess and purify each and every one. With a heart of full delight, I rejoice at all the merits, O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Pratyekabuddhas, those in training, and the Arhats beyond training, and every living being throughout the entire universe. You who are like beacons of light shining through the worlds, who passed through the stages of enlightenment to attain Buddhahood, freedom from all, I exhort you, all of you protectors, turn to the unsurpassable wheel of Dharma. Joining my palms together, I pray to you who intend to pass into nirvana, remain for eons, as many as the atoms in the world, and bring well-being and happiness to all beings. What little virtue I have gathered through my homage, through offering, confession, and rejoicing, through exhortation and prayer, all of it I dedicated to the enlightenment of all beings. Let the offerings be made to Buddhas of the past and all who now dwell throughout the 10 directions of this universe. Let all who are yet to come swiftly fulfill their wishes and attain the stages of enlightenment and Buddhahood. Let as many worlds as they are in all the 10 directions transform into realms that are vast and utterly pure, filled with Buddhas who have sat before the mighty Bodhi tree. Around them, all their bodhisattvas, sons and daughters. Let as many sentient beings as there are in all the 10 directions live always and forever in happiness and health. Let all beings meet the Dharma that befits them best, and so may all they hope to be fulfilled.
As I practice the training for enlightenment, may I recall all my previous births, and in my successive lives, through death and through rebirth, may I always renounce the worldly life, training in the footsteps of all the victorious Buddhas. May I bring good action to perfection, and my moral conduct be taintless and pure, never lapsing and always free from fault. In the language of the gods, Nagas, and Yaksas, in the language of demons and of humans too, in however many kinds of speech there may be, I shall proclaim the Dharma in the language of all. Taming my mind and striving in the paramitas, I will never forget the bodhicitta. May all my harmful actions and obscurations they cause be completely purified, every single one. May I be freed from karma, harmful emotions, and the work of negativity, and act for all beings in the world, just like the lotus flower to which mud and water cannot cling, or sun and moon that course unhindered through the sky. Throughout the reach and range of the entire universe, I shall pacify completely the suffering of all the lower realms. I shall lead all beings to happiness and work for the ultimate benefit of each and every one. I shall bring enlightened action to perfection, serve beings as to suit their needs, teach them to accomplish good actions, and continue this throughout all the eons to come. May I always meet and be accompanied by those whose action accords with mine and embodies speech and mind as well. May our actions and aspirations always be one.
May I always meet spiritual friends who long to be of true help to me and who teach me the good actions. Never will I disappoint them. May I always behold the Buddhas here before my eyes, and around them all their bodhisattva sons and daughters without ever tiring throughout all eons to come. May the offerings I make them be endless and vast. May I maintain the sacred teachings of the Buddhas and cause enlightened action to appear. May I train to perfection in good actions and practice these in every age to come. As I wander through all stages of samsaric existence, may I gather inexhaustible merit and wisdom, and so become an inexhaustible treasury of noble qualities, of skill and discernment, samadhi and liberation. In a single atom, may I see as many pure realms as atoms in the universe, and in each realm, Buddhas beyond all imagining, encircled by all their bodhisattva heirs. Along with them, may I perform the actions of enlightenment, and so, in each direction, everywhere, even on the tip of a hair, may I see an ocean of Buddhas, all to come in past, present, and future, in an ocean of pure realms. And throughout an ocean of eons, may I enter into enlightened action in each and every one. Each single word of Buddha's speech, that voice with its ocean of qualities, bears all the purity of the speech of all the Buddhas, sounds that harmonize with the minds of all living beings. May I always be engaged with the speech of the Buddha.
With all the power of my mind, may I hear and realize the inexhaustible melody of the teachings spoken by all the Buddhas of past, present, and future as they turn the wheels of Dharma. Just as the wisdom of the Buddhas penetrates all future eons, so may I too know them instantly. And in each fraction of an instant, may I know all that will ever be in past, present, and future. In an instant, may I behold all those who are the lions of the human race, the Buddhas of past, present, and future. May I always be engaged in the Buddha's way of life and action. Through the power of liberation, where all is realized as just like an illusion. On a single atom, may I actually bring about the entire array of pure realms of past, present, and future, and then enter into those pure Buddha realms in each atom and in each and every direction. When those who illuminate the world still to come gradually attain Buddhahood, turn the wheel of Dharma, and demonstrate the final profound peace of nirvana, may I always be in their presence. Through the power of swift miracles, the power of the vehicle like a doorway, the power of conduct that possesses all virtuous qualities, the power of loving kindness, all pervasive, the power of merit that is totally virtuous, the power of wisdom free from attachment, and the power of knowledge, skillful means in samadhi. May I perfectly accomplish the power of enlightenment.
May I purify the power of karma, destroy the power of harmful emotions, render negativity utterly powerless, and perfect the power of good actions. I shall purify oceans of realms, liberate oceans of sentient beings, understand oceans of Dharma, realize oceans of wisdom, perfect oceans of actions, fulfill oceans of aspirations, serve oceans of Buddhas, and perform these without ever growing weary through oceans of eons. All the Buddhas throughout the whole of time attained enlightenment through good actions, and their prayers and aspirations for enlightened action, may I fulfill them all completely. The eldest of the sons of all the Buddhas is called Amitabha, all good. So that I may act with a skill like his, I dedicate fully all these merits. To purify my body, my speech, and my mind as well, to purify my actions and all realms, may I be the equal of Amitabha in his skill and good dedications. In order to perform the full virtue of good actions, I shall act according to Manjushri's prayers of aspiration, and without ever growing weary in all the eons to come, I shall perfectly fulfill every one of his aims.
Let my bodhisattva acts be beyond measure. Let my enlightened qualities be measureless too. Keeping to this immeasurable activity, may I accomplish all the miraculous powers of enlightenment. Sentient beings are as limitless as the boundless expanse of space, so shall my prayers of aspiration for them be as limitless as their karma and harmful emotions. Whoever hears the king of dedication prayers and yearns for supreme enlightenment, who even once arouses faith, will gain true merit greater still than by offering the victorious Buddha's infinite pure realms in every direction, all ornamented with jewels, or offering them in the highest joys of gods and humans for as many eons as there are atoms in those realms. Whosoever truly makes the aspiration of good actions will never again be reborn in lower realms. They will be free from harmful companions and soon behold the Buddha of boundless light. They will acquire all kinds of benefits and live in happiness. Even in this present life, all will go well. And before long, they will become just like Samantabhadra. All negative acts, even the 5 of intermediate retribution, whatever they have committed in the grip of ignorance, will soon be completely purified if they recite this aspiration of good actions. They will possess perfect beauty, wisdom, and excellent signs, be born in a good family, and with a radiant appearance. Demons and heretics will never harm them, and all of these worlds will honor them with offerings.
They will quickly go beneath the Bodhi tree, and there they will sit to benefit all sentient beings, then awaken into enlightenment, turn the wheel of Dharma, and tame Mara with all his hordes. The full result of keeping, teaching, or reading this prayer of aspirations of good actions is known to the Buddhas alone. Have no doubt supreme enlightenment will be yours. Just as the Bodhisattva Manjushri attained omniscience and Samantabhadra too, all these merits now I dedicate to train and follow in their footsteps. As all the virtuous Buddhas of past, present, and future praise dedication as supreme, so now I dedicate all the roots of virtue for all beings to perfect good actions. When it is time for me to die, let all that obscures me fade away, so that I look at Amitabha there in person and go at once to his pure land of Sukhavati. In that pure land, may I actualize every single one of all these aspirations. May I fulfill them each and every one and bring help to beings for as long as the universe remains. Born there in a beautiful lotus flower, in that excellent and joyous Buddha realm, may the Buddha Amitabha himself grant me the prophecy foretelling my enlightenment.
Having received the prophecy there with my billions of emanations sent out through the power of my mind, may I bring enormous benefit to sentient beings in all the 10 directions. Through whatever small virtues I have gained by reciting this aspiration of good actions, may the virtuous wishes of all beings' prayers and aspirations all be instantly accomplished. Through the true and boundless merit attained by dedicating this aspiration of good actions, may all those now drowning in the ocean of suffering reach the supreme realm of Amitabha. May this king of aspirations bring about the supreme aim and benefit of all infinite sentient beings. May they perfect what is described in this holy prayer uttered by Samantabhadra. May the lower realms be entirely emptied. By the blessings of the Buddhas who have attained the 3 kayas and the unchanging truth of reality, as well as the unwavering aspiration of the Sangha, may all the aspirations and dedication prayers be fulfilled.
Very good. Thank you all very much. Does anybody have any questions or comments about the text, the King of Prayers? Please note that on page number 9, on section number 5, where it says, the second line down, it says, with my billions of emancipations has now been corrected to be emanations. So I spoke before, Rebecca had brought this up several weeks ago, and emanations and emancipations, there is a similarity between them, but I looked it up and the actual translation of the word is emanations. So that's the meaning of that. So please, if you haven't already, cross out emancipations and put in emanations. Okay. And that actually, and then Tom, a couple of weeks ago, he made a point of bringing that up too. And that gave me cause to go back to the Tibetan translation and to the actual Tibetan text and translate that. And it is actually emanations. All right. So where we left off a couple of weeks ago was on page 8, where it says the dedication of the merits of this meritorious aspiration. So this text is quite complete in being able to define what the aspirations are, what the benefits of the aspirations are, how we do that, how we gain the power for these, and so on. So there was quite a lot here. So now it's saying the dedication of the merits of this meritorious aspiration, the dedication that follows the bodhisattvas. So as we are engaging in this practice, to whatever degree we can, we are putting ourselves on the path of becoming a bodhisattva, a wholly enlightened being. So this dedication that follows the bodhisattvas is their dedication, their aspiration, their meaning, their purpose for engaging in this King of Prayers. So it says, just as the bodhisattva Manjushri attained omniscience, and Samantabhadra too, all these merits now I dedicate to train and follow in their footsteps. So Manjushri, as you remember, is the bodhisattva of wisdom, of knowledge, of bringing all this phenomenal knowledge and all this experienced absolute knowledge, this knowledge of the Buddhas, bring this all, just as the bodhisattva Manjushri attained omniscience, all knowingness about the phenomenal nature, all knowingness about the spiritual nature, the true nature. And Samantabhadra too. Samantabhadra is the bodhisattva of devotion, of dedication, of having this strong aspiration to want to be able to accomplish the perfection, to become enlightened, to become Buddha. All these merits now I dedicate to train and follow in their footsteps. So as we learn from them through our meditation, these are meditational deities. And as our meditation begins to take root and we begin to see the changes that we go through, that we dedicate and follow in their footsteps. The next is the dedication that follows the Buddhas themselves, as all the victorious Buddhas are past, present, and future. So the Buddhas are the perfection of the bodhisattvas who have liberated, who have become perfectly serene, perfectly blissful, perfectly empty in their nature. They praise dedication as supreme. Those Buddhas praise dedication as supreme. That when we accomplish all these things, as we're doing it for ourselves, now that we're dedicating all that we've done for ourselves, we're dedicating to the enlightenment of other beings, not holding it for ourselves. We're dedicating it to others. So the Buddhas dedicate that. within ourselves. And we can recognize that as we are in our meditations, as we begin to get better and better at that, and we realize our Buddha nature, we realize that we have this Buddha, and that to do this dedication is supreme, is wonderful, is magnificent. Now I dedicate all these roots of virtue for all beings to perfect good actions, because it's through the good actions that all this is possible. It's not possible through bad actions or mediocre actions. It's only possible through good actions, through the virtue, through goodness. And then the dedications towards actualizing the result. Now we have done all this. Now we are actualizing the result. We're dedicating the merit. We're dedicating our loving kindness and compassion, but now we are actualizing it. Now we are making it a vibrant part of our body, a vibrant part of our lives. When it is time for me to die, when all that obscures me fade away, so I look at Amitabha there in person and go at once to his pure land of Sukhavati. So what this means is that when I'm dying, when my body goes away and my brain goes away, all those memories go away. But what is left is that light that we have cultivated. And that light, as I look at Amitabha in person, that Buddha Amitabha that is with me, that is the wisdom of discriminating awareness, the wisdom of discriminating awareness, to be aware of where it is that we've come from, what it is that we are doing, and what it is that we are becoming, to be able to see this light in terms of the three times, to be able to see it in all the 10 directions, to be able to see it in all its permutations, is the wisdom of discriminating awareness. And to be able to abide in that, to be able to be the embodiment of that light, that wisdom that sees that. Amitabha means boundless light, the boundless light. So that light of wisdom, that light of loving kindness, compassion, etc. To look at Amitabha there in person, to see that you are Amitabha, that you have become Amitabha, that you have used the skillful means of Samantabhadra. You've used the skillful means of Manjushri, and you processed all that into the wisdom to now become Amitabha, to become a Buddha, to go from a bodhisattva to becoming a Buddha. Maybe it only lasts that long. Maybe it lasts for a much longer period. Maybe you can sustain that for the rest of your life. But for that moment, you realize that, and that becomes your embodiment of that Buddha nature. You begin to recognize, you see that. And go at once to his pure land of Sukhavati. So Sukhavati, or Dewachen. Sukhavati is the pure land of Buddha Amitabha. Dewachen is the Tibetan name of Sukhavati, that pure land. And that pure land is like, the whole expanse. However much you can see, this whole phenomenal nature now becomes your Buddha field of Amitabha. Everything becomes Amitabha. Everything becomes Sukhavati. So it's a matter of being able to change your view. You're not looking up at it. You're looking as it is the light, that you are the light. It's like recognizing yourself, your true nature, that you are Amitabha, as well as you are all the other Buddhas. In that pure land, may I actualize every single one of all these aspirations. So all the aspirations that have been enumerated here in this text, all these can be materialized, all these can be actualized. May I fulfill them, each and every one. All these good actions become the way in which we now operate, the way in which we now live, the way in which we now work with other beings. and bring help to beings for as long as the universe remains. That we will do this, we're making this vow to do this for as long as samsara, as long as this phenomenal nature exists. For us, time means nothing at this point. Time has been transcended. So to be able to say that we will do this through all of what we might call eternity or something like that is very simple. That's all I do. That's all I want to be. I'm home. Time means nothing. So for as long as all this suffering is there, I will be there to help. I have nothing better to do. And then number 4 is the dedication towards receiving a prophecy from the Buddha. Born there in a beautiful lotus flower, in that excellent and joyous Buddha realm, may the Buddha Amitabha himself grant me the prophecy of foretelling my enlightenment. As we engage in this meditation process, we begin to get glimpses, glimpse after glimpse, of what this is, of who we are, and how we recognize what our work is, what our work has been, and the progress that we've made, and so on. And with that comes this prophecy of good actions, this prophecy that I'm doing the right thing, the prophecy, yes, that I will be a bodhisattva, that yes, I will become a Buddha. And we will see that. We see that in a glimpse. And then a glimpse after glimpse. So we see it in the first meditation that it happens to us. We see that. And then, whoa, how magnificent that is. And then another meditation comes for us. And we see it again. We get back to that place again. And we say, oh, yes, this is really true. And then we're able to, move ourselves right back into it as we begin to, our brain kind of catches up with the magnificence of this and says, what is this? And then you're able to go back and reactivate that, to re-engage with that again. And we do this over and over again. And this is foretelling our enlightenment, and that enlightenment comes in stages. It doesn't come completely like this. We may experience it like this, but it's not stable like that. But the more that we do it, the more stability there is. And so each one of those engagements, each one of those glimpses is like a telling of a prophecy. Yes, this is who you are. This is who you will become in everything that you do in your ordinary life. Your ordinary mind will now become what we might have considered to be this extraordinary mind of being a Buddha. Now that extraordinary mind becomes your ordinary mind. That's our true nature. And that the extraordinary mind becomes that of the ones who are suffering. That's extraordinary to the Buddhas. So then number 5 is dedication towards serving others. Having received the prophecy there, having received that prophecy, that awareness, that awakening, with my billions of emanations, and it's like light coming out and just emanating in all directions, all these emanations in the 10 directions, nothing to stop it, like the sun, just shining its light, its heat for the benefit of others, sent out through the power of my mind, that this is going out through the mind, this is going out through the mind of the Buddha, and now your mind of the Buddha becomes incarnate. Your mind of the Buddha becomes you in this body, in this human form, radiating this. You become a living Buddha, and we all become living Buddhas. We're surrounded by Buddhas. We're surrounded by Buddhas that we can't see, but we are surrounded by Buddhas that we don't recognize. So once we begin to receive this prophecy, once we begin to recognize this, we begin to recognize the good deeds of these Buddhas, of these others, of these people, and so on. And we have a new respect for other people. We have a new respect for all sentient beings, that they are all Buddha. They're either potential Buddha or temporary Buddha, or maybe permanent Buddha that we haven't recognized yet. But we will, as we recognize ourselves in that state. Sent out through the power of my mind, may I bring enormous benefit to sentient beings in all the 10 directions. That my primal cause, my Shri, the Shri syllable that Om Mani Padme Hum revolves around, that primal cause is for the benefit of the enlightenment of all beings, for the freedom, for the liberation of all beings, from all beings who are suffering in samsara, who go through the process to become into nirvana, that which is beyond the suffering, and to make it stable. So now the conclusion. Through whatever small virtues I have gained, by reciting this aspiration of good actions, may the virtuous wishes of all beings, prayers, and aspirations all be instantly accomplished. So by reciting this often, if you can recite it every day, if you can recite it once a week, if you can recite it once a month, whatever you can do. But each time that you recite it, it gets stronger, it gets more powerful. It becomes transformative in your life. And so whatever virtues that we've gained from this, by reciting this, whatever wishes for other beings, prayers, and aspirations, may they all be instantly accomplished. This is what we want. This is what we all need. This is what we all are here for, is to be able to recognize our true nature. Through the true and boundless merit attained by dedicating this aspiration of good actions, may all those now drowning in the ocean of suffering reach the supreme state of Amitabha. So we're wishing, our aspirations is that all beings attain the same thing, the same realization, have the same experience, be liberated in the same way. And that we see all these Amitabhas, all these Buddha Amitabhas. May this king of aspiration bring about the supreme aim and benefit of all infinite sentient beings. May they perfect what is described in this holy prayer uttered by Amitabha. May the lower realms be entirely emptied. So may this king of aspirations, this great prayer, the supreme aim and benefit for all infinite sentient beings, may they perfect what is described in this holy prayer uttered by the Bodhisattva Amitabha. May the lower realms be entirely emptied. So the lower realms of the animal realms, the lower realms of the hungry ghost realms, the lower realms of the hell realms, may they all be emptied. So, and then you're at the end of the prayer, then it says the words of truth to accomplish aspirations, the words of truth to accomplish the aspiration by the blessings of the Buddhas who have attained the 3 kayas, those who have attained that, those who are Buddhas, whether you see them or you don't see them, you recognize them, but they have attained the 3 kayas, the Dharma kaya, the truth body. They became the Sambhogagaya, the subtle enjoyment body, the meditation body, and the Nirmanakaya, the actual emanation body, that which we can see, hear, and touch, and feel, and smell, and taste, and so on. There's 3 kayas who have attained the 3 kayas and the unchanging truth of reality. The unchanging truth of reality is the Dharma, is the teachings of the Buddhas, is the virtue of understanding the dichotomies of what it is to be in this phenomenal world, the truth of reality, the unchanging truth of reality. And then, as well as the unwavering aspirations of the Sangha. The Sangha is the community of people who engage in this, and their unwavering aspirations, who have put themselves on this path. So whether it's beings like us, who are learning this for the first time, or it's those who are bodhisattvas, or it's the great bodhisattvas, the 8 great bodhisattvas, all of them are considered as the Sangha, and that their unwavering aspirations of this community of followers, of Buddhas, may all their aspirations and dedication prayers be fulfilled. So Om Ahong, Om Ahong, Om Ahong. The body, speech, and mind. May my body, speech, and mind become inseparable with their body, speech, and mind for the benefit of the enlightenment of all sentient beings. So thank you very much for the time that you invested in this to hear these teachings and to read these aspiration prayers and to recite these aspiration prayers. Thank you very much. I think that things have changed. So,
Thank you, Lance.
thank you. Does anybody have any comments or questions now?
Are you going to have a program next Monday?
Yes, and I sent an email out earlier this week with a topics, syllabus topics. So did you receive that, Thomas, in your email?
I've been having difficulty with my email, so I'll check again.
Please check. If you haven't gotten it, just give me a phone call or a text or whatever, and I'll be sure that you get it. I hope everybody else got it. So it's got 8 topics there that we will cover during the 8 weeks. And they're not in a specific order, although there's a little bit of an order, but you'll see that how they kind of come together with each other and so on. But you'll be
Same
able to,
link.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Thomas.
Same link and password?
Yes. Yes, same link and password that we're using now for Buddhism 101. We'll continue.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So it's basically starting over at the beginning. Yes, Rebecca.
So is Amitabha the same as Buddha Shakyamuni?
Yes,
They're interchangeable.
they are Buddhas. Yes, and it was Buddha Shakyamuni, who is a Nirmanakaya body of all the Buddhas. So he became an incarnate Buddha, whereas Amitabha is a Sambhogagaya Buddha and a Dharmakaya. They're all Dharmakaya Buddha. They're all Dharmakaya. But Amitabha, we can experience through our meditations. Buddha Shakyamuni, we could touch, hear, and feel, and see, and smell, and so on. That's the difference between them. But their essence is the same. Does that make sense to you?
Well, it leads me to my next question, which is, does that mean that Buddha Shakyamuni is conceptual in nature as opposed to historical?
Well, conceptual in the same way that we're conceptual.
Yeah, but that's not what I mean.
But his essence, as our essence is too, but his essence was realized. His essence was the true nature. And that's what he was communicating. His genius was to be able to intellectualize that essence into the Dharma teachings. That was his genius, to be able to do that.
Did he come here to do that?
Yes.
So it was a pre-birth intentionality. It was Jesus-like.
You could say that. Yeah. I think so. You know, that was, you know, he had to experience the human condition to be able to learn, to be able to figure out how to communicate to those humans what it is to be Buddha.
Was he Buddha before he attained enlightenment?
In the same way that we are Buddha. Yes, we are Buddha. He had that Buddha potential, yes. Was he ordained? He never claimed to be ordained. He never claimed that to be any more special than any other being.
So I have two universes that are struggling for the upper hand in my head. Right, one where Buddha Shakyamuni had these experiences, had an epiphany, spent some time, figured out how to communicate how he got to his epiphany, and died. And another with all of these conceptual Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and all on grains of sand. And I really like the first one. I'm really struggling with the second one.
Well, that's why we do Deity Yoga. That's what, you see, when we talk about the three vehicles of Buddhism, there's the Hinayana, there's the Mahayana, and there's the Vajrayana. The Hinayana is the foundational discipline to be able to develop the one-pointed mindfulness that is required to be able to focus on these very, 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 very subtle investigations and experiences. In the Mahayana, we develop devotion for recognizing that this is for the benefit of all beings. If beings are suffering, we are suffering. If we are suffering, we can make beings suffering. If we are happy, we can make beings happy. If beings are happy, they can make us happy. We're all connected. So it's realization, and the Mahayana is realization of the connection, of the devotion, that we are all connected together and that we need to work together to be able to do that. The Hinayana is more of a selfish notion of enlightenment for oneself. In the Mahayana, that selfishness is transcended into we do it all together. And this is the bodhisattva. The ideal is the bodhisattva who continually will come back as a human being or whatever is necessary in order to be able to engage ordinary beings to become their Buddha nature. So
right, I get the bodhisattva as like the last guy to get on the life raft.
Okay, yeah, he is the life raft. He would be the life raft, or she would be the life raft. Now, in the Vajrayana, it is that we become the Buddha. We recognize what it is to become the Buddha. In the Mahayana, we are devoted to the enlightenment of other beings. But we are not necessarily at that point realization of our Buddha nature, of what it is to be Buddha. But it's in the Vajrayana that we become the Buddha. And we do that through the Deity Yoga. The Deity Yoga means union with the deity. And that's how we are able to transcend. That's how we're able to to be able to truly help other beings. Before, we're devoted to them. Now we actually have power to be able to really help them.
Does the one who has attained Buddhahood know he or she has attained Buddhahood?
Certainly.
Oh my God, Ed, you did it. And you didn't even know it.
Did what?
Attained Buddhahood.
What's that? Say that again.
I was just being funny. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, I don't understand, but nevertheless, to answer Ed's question is yes, for sure. You know, they don't go around shouting at other people.
But if I attained it, I would. I obviously haven't attained it. If I did, I would know it.
Certainly.
Would I be capable of backsliding?
Not once you become Buddha. See, because it's a process. So first you have to go through the process of the bodhisattva. And there is where you can backslide.
Right, right.
You know, but it's through the perfection of the bodhisattva that comes to the realization of the Buddha. And then once you've done that, there's no going back. There's no need to go back because you become omnipresent. And there is a realization of that. There is an awakening to that. You recognize that. Now, you may not trust it in the beginning. You may not, you know, because it comes a little bit at a time. And you say, whoa, what was that? And then it's gone. And then you go back in and you make it happen again. But the more that you do it over and over and over again, the more stable it becomes. So in that regard, there's there can be backsliding, but it's not losing that Buddha nature in the process. It's only stabilizing the realization of that Buddha nature.
So the question arises, what is Buddha nature? And I'm not posing it for you to answer it right now, but there's like different views on what Buddha nature is. And I think since I'm making an assumption here, that none of us that are here tonight consider ourselves as scholars. I consider that you know quite a bit, but I don't think you would put yourself out as a scholar. And even the scholars are debating what Buddha nature is. So when kind of ordinary people like ourselves are exposed to various discussions, presentations or teachings, it's a little difficult to unravel what they're really talking about because the experts themselves are still debating that.
That's true, you know, and it is an experience. You know, you can say that this is a way of dodging the question, but the question is a conceptual question, and Buddha nature is non-conceptual. So how can I possibly communicate to myself or to anybody else what that is? However, I can experience it and tell you that there's no words to be able to describe that. And the invitation is for you and everyone to be able to open yourselves up to that experience. So all those who debate this are, trying to conceptualize that which cannot be conceptualized. And books and books and books and books and centuries, generations of people have tried to do this. But it's a folly.
But even though I can't define it or describe it, I know when I've experienced it.
Yes. You probably have already experienced it already, but it's quite likely that you suppressed it. And I know we've all experienced it because we've all been born many times and we've all died many times. And then when our ego is gone, that goes when our body dissolves and our brain dissolves and all that memory and all that goes, then we become pure spirit. You know, so what is that we're recognizing when we recognize pure spirit? That's the Buddha nature. And that's the experience. That's what we have to experience. So we've all experienced it. We've all been there, but we're trying to condition it with our ego. And that's the rub, you know. And the last obstacle that the Bodhisattva, that the great Bodhisattva has to overcome, the great obscuration, is for his wisdom or her wisdom, to let that wisdom go. That they can become the living Buddha, that they are needed to become the living Buddha, to let that go, to let all attachment go, all aversion go, all the wisdom go.
I'm imagining.
Somebody was speaking. Thomas, I think you were first.
Well, Ed had his thoughts, so go ahead.
What was that? Ed, go ahead.
I'm imagining that I'm looking into a sky of clouds that are floating around, and these clouds represent my aversions and attachments. But every now and then they separate just enough that I get a glimpse through them of the blue sky or whatever it is beyond.
Right. Good
Just a
analogy.
glimpse.
Good analogy.
And then the clouds drift again and overlap each other and block out that vision.
Right.
And what I'm trying to do is get to a point where I have more blue sky and less clouds.
Well, to realize that the clouds are part of that.
Right. Right.
To realize that the clouds are part of that blue sky, as part of that awareness.
Right. Right.
And that's the obscuration of wisdom. To think because the clouds represent and the blue sky represents a duality. So what we have to see is that the duality is one, is the one, what we would call the oneness. I mean, that's a concept to say it that way, but that's what we recognize. It all comes onto the path of Dharma. But yes, to be able to open ourselves up. So first we have to recognize our dualistic nature. We have to understand what it is to be a human being and what our dualism is. Once we really get a handle on that, now we can deal with being able to bring it onto the path and not be led around by our duality, but we are illuminating the duality. Does that make sense, Ed?
I'm struggling with it, but it's a start. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
I think an aspect of the Buddha nature is
I'm
just to
sorry.
be is to witness, just to witness, not to be a camera, but not to participate in the drama by making a judgment. So that judgment could be aversion or attraction or any of the other opposites. You just, so there's some books out, 2 little books, As It Is. You just experience life as it is. That's what comes up for me.
Yes, but how pure can you maintain that?
I
And
I
I'm
think-
saying you can't. I'm not saying you can't, but I think that, you know, to be able, because it is as it is, but how stable can we maintain that in its purity?
Sometimes I think the idea of purity, at least as it applied to spiritual matters, just leads us down some yellow brick road. It's just dualistic thinking.
Well, it's another concept for sure.
How can you develop the stability? I imagine when you have that clarity, that there's some impact, some awareness. And then when you lose that clarity, you're also aware of the lack of clarity. And so you remind yourself things went out of focus. So what do I need to do that? Do I need to work on my obscurations, my afflictive emotions, or I need to just relax and not participate in the drama so much?
Well, it depends. All the above, you know, depends on what it is that are the obscurations. So that's why we need to be educated to be able to understand them, so that we're no longer enslaved by them. We can let them go.
You know, I read a story one time about Mongolian yak herders, young ones, and they were considered ideal Dharma students because they were out on the meadow looking after the yaks, and there's not a lot to do as the yaks meander around, so they lay back on the ground and they would just gaze up at the blue sky, and there wouldn't be anything to fix their mind on. And so they developed meditative stability.
It's funny you say that, because my teacher, Drupal Tinley Ningpo, was a nomad. You know, his family were nomads in Tibet. They were, and he was, you know, he was the oldest in his family, and so he was, you know, the yak herder, you know, of the new generation. You know, his father and his uncles and all that were the herders, but he was the generational, you know, leader, and he teaches once a week on Sundays, and he was talking about, you know, his days with the yaks. He was talking about it yesterday, and he's a great teacher. He's a magnificent teacher of the Dharma, and he teaches in a way that is more experiential than it is book learning. And so your point is well taken. And you know, so if you have the opportunity sometime to hear his teaching or other people's teachings who teach in that same way, is very profound. He's a yogi. There's a difference between a yogi and a scholar. They can both be the same, but very often they're different.
If the Buddha said, I can't tell you what it is, you have to experience it, then how does he teach it? Or how does anybody teach it?
That's what we've been doing. Everything that we've been teaching has been Dharma teaching that has come from the Buddha. And it's also been commented on by others who they themselves have become Buddhas. You know, there's been many, many, many Buddhas. So, but in the final, you know, analysis of it, you have to experience it yourself. What the Dharma is a guidance to be able to recognize yourself and to be able to liberate from that, to through one-pointed mindfulness, to be able to experience your true nature.
So the Dharma is a tool to
Yes.
help you.
Yes, it is the intellectualization of that experience, but of the method of the experience.
Thank you.
Mhm. There was a great book, you know, there's been many teachers. There's a great book called Be Here Now. Maybe you're familiar with it. I know some of you are. You know, that was written, you know, back in the 60s, late 60s by Baba Ram Das, who was Richard Alpert. And it was like a, you know, a manual for my generation, our generation, you know, to recognize the process of enlightenment, to develop mindfulness and so on. It's called Be Here Now. And so once you achieve that, you know, if you truly achieve that, then, you know, it's enlightenment, it's Buddhahood, it's the Godhead, it's Christ, it's whatever you know, whatever words you want to use for it.
It used to be on sale for $3.33.
Yeah, maybe so. I got my copy. So what does this mean to you? Tell me what this means to you. You know, where are you with this now? Ed, where are you with this now? You know, you've been with us, I think, 3 cycles of Buddhism 101. Where are you with this now?
I don't think I can articulate that. I really don't. I mean, I don't know where I am with.
Are you done?
Am I done with what?
With staying with the program, so to speak?
Hopefully not.
Okay. Zara, how about you?
I am on the journey. The plane is taking off. I'm here for all of it. I am open, and I am from where I started with you last year, like over a year and a half ago. It's like I can't go back, if that makes sense, Lance. I can't go back. I feel the conditional discriminations where I'm like, ooh, I live now. My goal every day and purpose is to bring joy for other people. Yeah. That's my purpose right now. That's as simply as I can put it. That's how I feel it right now, Lance. That's what I feel right now.
Has that changed from what it was a year or 2 years ago?
Absolutely. Yeah. My emotions and the afflictive states have a lot less control over me. There is space between something that's antagonizing and the response I've provided. And that was never there before. It was all about me and how dare you do these things to me. Now I can laugh at it. I can laugh what I just said. 2 years ago, I would have been crying about that and devastated over something that I can say, wow, how could you have gotten so upset over that conversation if you can take back layers of it? I feel joy, Lance. I'm lighter, and happier and more present.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Rebecca, how about you?
I was trying not to move so that you didn't see me.
No,
I'm not sure where I am. What Zara just described reminded me of the moment when I made the commitment to convert to Judaism. And there was a moment where I looked back at where I had been and knew that I could not go backward, right? That I had found something that was home for me. I'm not having the same experience of that here. And I don't know that I think that that would be something I would even be looking for, but but I'm not having that same kind of experience that Zara is. I'm certainly getting a lot out of this. Yeah, I don't know.
Are you taking the Dharma, as we've been talking about it and everything? Are you, kind of, how you say, modulating it along with the Judaism and the teachings there? Or you see it as two separate things? Or I guess my question is, are you bringing it together? Are you able to bring it together?
I can see how they coexist in the same universe. I don't believe that they're the same thing. And I don't believe that I don't accept the idea that there is parallelism in all of the major religions. I simply don't agree with that. So I'm not attempting to do that. I think it would not be right for me.
What do you think of meditation?
I'm a fan. That's the large part of what got me here.
When do you meditate?
I used to meditate when I was on the arm exercise machine at physical therapy. I don't have a regular routine practice.
Why not?
But Rebecca, it was hard for me too. Like it's been a journey for me to get excited about meditation. If I can jump in and segue, I was in and out of it. Like it was a habit. I was like, I really want to do it, but I got other things to do. And it used to be like this thing to cross off the list, like it was forced. And only recently did I, like Lance always says, let things happen organically, let them just come and don't force. And so I kind of just developed compassion. And only recently, Rebecca, have I found joy in meditating, if that makes sense. I used to not have an appreciation for it as a habit. And it was highly irregular until recently for me.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I like how you described what you've gotten to, because that's a big piece of what I was looking for that had me come here, is the being able to not be emotionally triggered by my circumstances. My circumstances are definitely still in some control of my universe.
Some control of what? I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
Of my universe, of my experience of my life.
Ed, what do you think about meditation?
I have found it helpful. I don't like Rebecca, I don't have a regular practice, though I find myself doing more of it to just because the mood strikes me. I feel some benefit from it. I honestly probably have not made the commitment to it that I would need to get the best benefit from it. And I feel, I mean, just where I am in my life now, I'm as a lot of us are, I'm pulled in a lot of different directions. And I entered into this process with the idea that I would learn more about Buddhism, you know, largely because because Michael's a friend of mine. I've known him a long time, and this has meant a lot to him. So I decided I wanted to learn more about it. But to be honest, I'm not looking to become. I didn't enter into it with the idea that I would become a Buddhist, that I would just be more knowledgeable about it. I think I've become more knowledgeable about it, but have not made the commitment that I would need to make were I to become fully immersed in it. That's just as honestly as I can see it.
That's good. No, that's great. Thank you. You know, I'm kind of focused between Ed and Rebecca right now. We've had I've had conversations with both over the past year or so, and I know you both have, you know, you're both very, you know, dedicated and intelligent, and have a real sense of yourself and spirituality and so on. And so I'm interested in what you're thinking and so on. I'm you know, what we're going to start next week again is going back to the beginning of the Jewel Ornament Liberation, and talking about, you know, the building blocks of understanding, you know, what the Dharma is and so on, what the teachings of the Buddha is and so on. Are you going to continue joining us for that, Ed and Rebecca?
That's my plan. But I started on this the first week in January, and I was going to do 8 weeks. And the question in my mind was, am I really up for 8 weeks of this? Yeah, I'll give it a try for 8 weeks. You know, now I've been in it for 10 months. Never anticipated that. But also feel maybe somewhat hypocritical that I'm not putting into it what other people are.
Well, I don't think you should. Well, I'll leave that up to you.
Hey, Ed,
Yeah.
I would love if you would come back. I was just typing in the chat box. The repetition is helpful for me, but this is like something, a social thing I put in my calendar. I like to block this, like a protected thing where I can't let anyone else block this time. And the same thing on Saturdays, unless I'm traveling. I feel good being around you all, if that makes sense. I was like, it's my date night with people I like to be around. As maybe silly as that sounds, I like listening to you all. It feels good, if that makes sense.
I don't know if it makes sense, but I appreciate it.
I feel I get collateral benefit other than loving to listen to Lance talk about the structure and the content. I actually love listening to you all share. I love listening to Rebecca and her candor. I love each of you. I love everything I get to hear from you all. It feels good and it makes my heart smile. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
I don't know. I feel like I'm suspended between the little mind and the big mind.
Okay. Okay. I mean, part of what I'm trying to do is just to get everybody to kind of think about where they are. That's an important part of this process, is understanding where you are. So sometimes we have to, talk about it. We have to hear ourselves say the words to recognize where we are, to articulate it. And sometimes, we're in between, and sometimes we got a very definite idea, and sometimes we have no idea at all, and all points in between there. But it's part of the process, part of this conversation. That's why, it's a Sangha, and however, to whatever degree you want to call it that, that's what it is.
But one thing that comes,
Go ahead, Thomas.
one thing that comes up for me as I listen to various Dharma presentations is that there is in many forums the presentation of a teaching. And then people have questions. And if it's a very large group, they have a formal way of how you present your questions, so the chat box is not all filled up. But in the end, there's a little bit of a problem with that, in that the rules of engagement are you can only ask questions about what was being talked about. That makes some sense, but it also it very limits the discussion, and people might have questions that are like right on the edge or right on the cusp, that are not directly related, but they're all related. And so it occurs to me that some nights we've just had an opportunity to where the text has been set aside and people just talked. And I think that's been very productive, in that what is a gap or a space or a hole or a question for one person may not be so for someone else. But as we talk in that informal way, back and forth, instead of just student teacher, but all of us together, that actually can be more informative than the formal structure of presentation of text. Do you have any questions?
No, it's true. I'd like to ask somebody else, any comments? Grant, how about you? You have any comment about any things that we've been talking about, or something else?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in the car waiting for my wife to come back from New York City in a bus. I don't know really what to say. For quite a while, I believe in this concept that there is, no such thing as Grant Clark, that I am this invented concept that, has no reality to it. And this concept of self is, for me at least, is what causes me the most suffering. And so, if you can, actually experience this non-duality, this no self, this, egoless state, your suffering here on earth would, be eliminated. And, through meditation, I've gotten little tiny glimpses of this no self emptiness, this sort of, sort of timeless nature, but it's such a tiny glimpse, and there's it's not like it's stable whatsoever. So those types of things, I totally believe in. And I think Buddhism is all very compatible with everything I've said. So yeah, right now I consider myself a Buddhist, but yeah, I'm still trying to gather my head on some of the institutional qualities that go along with Buddhism. So, the meditation, the no self, things like that, I'm totally all in. The institutional nature of Buddhism, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, but I'm also very interested in it. So even though I have questions, it's also very fascinating, and I've enjoyed reading now about it, and so I guess that's where I'm at.
Okay, thank you. Are you going to be joining us, next week and continuing on for the next cycle?
That's my plan, yes.
Good.
And I do really like this concept of this, the Sangha. To me, that's, the one, a very powerful or, very, this concept that I really find, that appealing through institutional Buddhism is you have the Sangha, and you have this group of people that can support each other and can learn and grow with each other. And to me, that this Sangha is like the most appealing aspect of institutional Buddhism. And our DDSC and Sangha, I live really close, and that also makes it to the temple. So that's another thing that makes it very appealing to me.
Very good. Thank you. So we don't have a lot of time, but Michael, do you have any comment, or Thomas, do you have anything you want to add? Tom, do you have anything you want to add? And William and Bhavani, if you have something
I have a
quick to say.
thing.
What was that, Thomas?
I have a quick thing, and that is at various times you've mentioned virtuous, I'll say, conduct in body, speech, and mind. And so I've been aware of that for quite some time, but because of your emphasis on that, I put more attention to that, how I treat my body, what I have to say, and what I'm thinking. And it's more focused. And so it's like the radio reception or TV reception had some static in it, and now the dial has been adjusted a little bit, and things are in sharper focus and clearer. I don't know if those words communicate what I'm meaning or not.
Very good. Thank you. So once again, Tom or Michael, Bhavani, William, anybody, you guys have anything you want to add?
I find that every square centimeter and every moment is full of billions of Buddhas and kalpas of a Buddha spirit. And thanks to the good graces of this Sangha and the larger Sangha, I'm joyously dancing with the Dharma.
Very good. Thank you.
One day I wish to get together with all of you in the Sangha or in the main hall and serve you all tea and prostrate to all of you, because all of you are great teachers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I hope we all can get together in the shrine room. Those of us that live in the immediate area, it'd be great to see you soon, and maybe Zara and Tom and William and Bhavani can make a pilgrimage up sometime. Would be wonderful. You know, we'd all get together, and if you see that there's an opportunity that you want to do that, let's talk about that. Make a date. Let's do that. So I'm thinking of how I can come down. I'm thinking coming down on maybe Sundays and staying Sunday night, and then Monday having our Buddhism 101 teachings from the center. And so that, you know, if you all would come, you know, that would be wonderful, you know, to be able to share that with you. It's part of sharing the Dharma is sharing the facility, sharing the shrine room, and sharing, you know, the other parts of what we have. The ritual are part of this. You know, it's not a definitive part, but it is it's a mindfulness part, and it helps, you know, it helps with the meditation and so on. So I hope that we'll be able to do that. And if you have you know, thoughts about that, especially if you don't want to do that, I'd like to know that. So just so I don't, you know, be making plans that are ill-conceived.
Thank you, Lance. Look forward to seeing you on Monday.
All right. Well, thank you. We need to do our dedication. So in our prayer book, we'll do a short dedication, just the pages on page 20, 21, and 22. So please try and visualize the meaning of this. By the virtues collected in the three times, by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate word of virtue, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain, unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Trikumpa Ratna Shri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara. Glorious, holy, venerable, precious, kind root and lineage lamas, divine assemblies of yidams and assemblies of Buddhas, bodhisattvas, yogins, yoginis, and dakinis, dwelling in the 10 directions, please hear my prayer. May the virtues collected in the three times by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and the innate word of virtue, not result in the 8 worldly concerns, the 4 causes of samsara, or rebirth as a Shravaka or Pratyeka Buddha. May all mothers sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me and mine, obstructors who harm, misleading Mars, and the hordes of demons, experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious Buddhahood. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May attachment to fame, reputation, wealth, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta, and through that, may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. May the torment of suffering not arise even at the time of my death. May I not die with negative thoughts. May I not die confused by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind as such and the pervading clarity of Dharmata. May I in any case gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the bardo. Om, Ah, Hum. Om, Ah, Hum. Om, Ah, Hum. May my body, speech, and mind become inseparable with the body, speech, and mind of all the enlightened ones for the benefit of the enlightenment of all sentient beings. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lance.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope to see you all next Monday. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good night, brothers and sisters.
Good night. Good night, Thomas.